But like I said, this is always an honor and a privilege. I do not take these opportunities lightly to be able to just share my story. So when I speak, I like interaction, okay? So it's like you're sitting in my chair. I like to be able to interact with you. That's how it becomes more personable. So I've been praying and trying to figure out what exactly to share. Everybody in here has a story to tell, okay? And the word even says that we're overcome by the words of our testimony. And so given the opportunity to share a story, that's something that you never should take lightly because everybody literally has a story. So what makes me qualified to be able to stand before you? I am, as Yvette said, Yvette really did all the talking for me to kind of tell my background, but I am originally from Alabama, came up in a middle-class family, mother and father, but a lot of things were out of whack, unstable. I am the preacher's daughter. You already know how that goes, okay? Not only am I a preacher's daughter, but my father was a police officer. Can you imagine? So yeah, I'm a little off the chain. But anyway, because this is Mental Health Awareness Month, I wanted to definitely touch bases on some mental health and be able to share my story about mental health. Just because you look a certain way does not mean that you do not have issues. Back in 2007, I became disabled. I was disabled for 4 years. I did not think I would ever be able to work again, let alone own a salon and work as a hairstylist. I was pretty much just cast away, told that, hey, you have literally stressed your body out so bad that you won't be able to do anything ever again. And so I'm a walking miracle. But during that time of dealing with the physical illness, a lot of psychological things began to develop. And so it wasn't until about 4 years later that I was diagnosed with bipolar disorder. How many of you have heard of bipolar disorder? What do you know about bipolar disorder? You better take your meds. And depression. There's no in between. So the reason I'm asking that is because a lot of people hear about mental disorders and we are stereotyped. When I tell people about bipolar disorder, like, you can't have that. My husband even told me that. There's no way you're diagnosed with that. I said, oh, I'm crazy, all right. But it made me aware more, even though I was diagnosed 4 years after I got healed physically, I did not have the intellect and the knowledge about bipolar disorder. So I was one of those out of millions that decided not to take the medication because I did not have the knowledge about bipolar disorder. It wasn't until actually, Terrell, a doctor at Kaiser Permanente taught me and broke down the importance of bipolar disorder and let me know there's manic and there is depressed and there's no in between, and that's why you flip off the handle. So because I gained knowledge about this, it made me more aware and be able to talk to other people. And how many of you know if you deal with something like that, more than likely one of your children are going to deal with that? People don't want to talk about that, but that is so true. So after finding out about the bipolar disorder and learning about the medications, I am more aware of what I need to do, how to take care of myself, having a psychologist, having a psychiatrist which prescribes the medication, and making sure that I take care of joy. That's number one. And you don't have to be diagnosed with bipolar disorder or manic depression in order to take care of yourself. We as women do so much more than what we really are expected to do because of the way we have been taught. One of the things that one of my psychologists told me years ago was, your mother must go, 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 and go, and never stop. And I said, why? How would you know that? He said, because you go, 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 and go, and never stop. He said, so when you go, go, and go, and never stop, your body literally shuts down. So I have to use coping mechanisms in order to keep myself stable. So let's move forward. I shared a little bit about mental health. 4 years after I was diagnosed with bipolar disorder, I was homeless. My family and I was homeless. And so remember I said that I never thought that I would work again or anything like that. But during the homelessness, I got frustrated and I was like, I am so used to working and taking care of my family that something has got to give. So I decided that I was in the library. That's where we would go. We would stay in the homeless shelter. My husband was in one shelter with my sons, and I was in another shelter with my daughters. And so at night, we would come together to make sure that the kids needed to do their homework. And we would go to the library in order to do this. So that's how we would see each other. And so there was one particular night, I was so frustrated. And I was like, Lord, something has got to give. So I was going to walk outside because I had received an email. How many of you guys know about scam emails about working? I had never heard of that. I had been out of the workforce for so long. But someone sent me an email and it was a scam. So I got frustrated. I went outside and I was getting ready to curse God. I was that frustrated. I had no motivation. And I was like, this is ridiculous. My family is homeless. We were victims of a housing scam. We were new to Georgia. We had $163 that we moved here with 4 children at the time. And I was frustrated. As I was walking outside, God spoke to me and he said, go and Google beauty schools. And now, come on, I'm homeless. I have no money. I have nowhere to stay. Why am I going to do something like that? But how many of you guys know that when God tells you to do something, you got to do it? So that particular night, I went in and I Googled. Had no idea that when you put the information in one system, it literally sends it to all the other schools, okay, in the area, I think within 60 miles, actually. So that particular night, I talked to a school, and they told me, hey, we can meet you tomorrow. They asked me all these questions. They were like, you qualify. You need to be in our school. And I was like, okay, that's fine. So I'll meet you guys tomorrow. The next day, that didn't pan out, but I ended up going to another school. So I met that person there, and the guy gave me a tour, really nice and really sweet. But it was so crazy because when I came back in his office and he asked me, he said, what would it take for you to start school here? He said, we really need someone like you. And I was just like, what? I said, I have no money. I have nowhere to stay. He said, what if I can help you and your husband get back on your feet? I was like, okay. Okay. So that was on a Wednesday. Believe it or not, even during my sickness time, I was keeping up with my fast food and I never understood why. So that was on a Wednesday. That Thursday, the school called me and told me I was approved to be able to start school. I started school on that next Monday. Wow. And even though that gentleman offered to be able to get us help, we did not come out of homelessness until the end of my schooling. So I went to school, living in a hotel with my children and my husband, every day looking like this. And I say that for this reason. My mother taught me, you are not to look like what you are going through. It makes a big difference. If you look good, you're going to feel good. If you feel good, you're going to produce excellence. And that's what I was raised upon. So because I was in that situation, I pushed myself even more to make sure myself and my children still looked a certain way. I got a lot of backlash, believe me, because of that, from family and friends once they found out we were homeless. Why do you look like this? Nobody even knows you need help. Well, this is my motto. If you're connected to the Holy Spirit, you're going to know when you need to help somebody or not. So I took that and I just put that in the bag because it didn't matter what I looked like. It was the fact that I was needing to go through what I had to go through. So fast forward, I finished school, and I'm the only person at GCI, and I graduated from GCI. I'm on the board of advisors there, have been since I graduated. And I finished top 3 in my class. And leading up to my graduation, I had an opportunity to get in film. And so the school allowed me to finish my hours, being able to do film, makeup, and wardrobe on a set, a movie set. So that was definitely an opportunity. That's kind of how I got started, to do the wardrobe and be able to help people out on movie sets. So fast forward, you guys are good? Yeah. Okay. Fast forward, after finishing school, y'all, that was hard. To start all over, I went from corporate America, knowing what my check was gonna look like every week, to not knowing if I was gonna make any money every day. So I often tell people that when you become a business owner, if you don't have any faith, you don't need to be a business owner. Because that's the only way that you're gonna make it. There were days and weeks that all I had was my booth rent. And knowing that things needed to be taken care of at home, by this time my husband had gotten another job, we were in an apartment with all of our children, so we were moving forward. But here come another block. We experienced being robbed at the apartment we were in. Come to find out it was a whole lot of mess going on. I don't think my kids knew this, but that's why we had to get up and move again. So in the meantime, the whole time, dealing with someone robbing us, but this was like as soon as we moved into this apartment. We got robbed, we had to move again, and this time we had to move with a friend. And I expected for us to be there for about a month. That month turned into about 3 or 4 months. But during that time, I started reliving what I thought about when I was in beauty school. The fact that I needed to own a beauty salon, and not for my purpose, but to be able to bring other stylists in that had a heart like mine, to be able to set an atmosphere and a tone that other salons cannot do. And they refuse to because it's all about the dollar. That's the difference. All of us women have been in beauty salons, and how many hours do you stay in the salon? And then what happens? You get to the point where you're like, I don't want to go back there. I don't need that. So that was my desire, to be able to set the tone that other salons did not have. And so fast forward, I was introduced to the chamber, and that was like, my question was, what am I gonna do as a chamber member? I'm a hairstylist. And that person said, you'll be surprised. So the fact that I was in Lithonia, working at a salon, and I must be able to share this story with you guys, because somebody is definitely struggling, would stand on top of being a business owner. And you're wondering, how am I gonna get from point A to point B? If you're struggling with that, listen to how God works. I was at a salon in Lithonia, had been there for a number of years. And it wasn't until one particular day, I started seeing that things were changing. And it wasn't necessarily with anybody around me, it was me changing. And that desire that God had put in me, it just like it came from nowhere. And so it was a Friday. I get a phone call. Actually, I made 3 phone calls. And my phone calls were, something is going on and I need direction and guidance. And so I was reaching out to my spiritual sisters. And so that Saturday came, and I get a phone call, and the person told me, it's time for you to move. And I was like, okay. That quick. I knew something was going on in the spiritual realm, and I could not understand it. So that was that Saturday. As soon as I got that message, I reached out to someone that was a realtor and my friend at the time, and I said, hey, I need to move. She called me immediately, guys, and she said, what are you doing? I said, okay, I'm waiting for my last client to drive. What's up? She said, well, so-and-so is going to retire, and she needs someone to take over the salon. So I tell you guys to tell you this. And then, let me tell you this part. That was on a Saturday. I was supposed to be in Columbus, Georgia on my tour. But I had a meeting with the team on that Wednesday, and I said something needs to change about the date. We need to change the date, and they agreed. So if I was in Columbus, I wouldn't have gotten that phone call. So sometimes when you think it's supposed to be a certain way, if you trust the process, you will walk into what you're supposed to walk into. So that Saturday, I went and my husband and I went and looked at the property. I was like, oh my God, this is not too big, not too small. Didn't know how much it cost at the time, but it was good. So that Monday, I was supposed to have my realtor to talk to the landlord. And she called me that morning. She said, I believe you need to talk to the landlord. She needs to know who you are. And she needs to hear your voice. I was like, okay, that's cool. She said, you can talk to anybody. I said, okay. And she prayed with me over the phone. She prayed with me over the phone. I called the landlord. The landlord told me, hey, I have been trying to put this place on the market for months, and my realtor would not call me back. So what's for you is for you. That's why you gotta have faith. No matter what it looks like, no matter what it feels like, you've got to operate in faith. It does not matter what's due. If God gave you a vision, He is going to provide the provision for you. It doesn't matter who has to step to the side, or it doesn't even matter if you have to be the one step to the side in order to be moved where you need to be moved, in order to walk in what you need to walk in. So just to let you guys know, that's how I end up in JLA Hair Designs. That name was given to me in 2020 when I first established JLA Hair Designs, thinking I was going into another position, another spot. But that's not what happened. Actually, Sneakers Asylum is there where I was going into. So that means that was for them and not for me. But I wanted to share that to encourage somebody that's working a business, that you don't understand. Why am I doing this? Why did I leave my job? Why am I struggling? Everything works out for your good. Now, is it easy being an owner? No, it's not. But I know I did not put me there. I know that God placed me there. All the help that I've had, I know that those people were ordained to help me. And anybody else that God wants to send to help me. But that process, you must trust that process. So just to encourage you guys, do not give up on your dreams. I still have so many other dreams, but I knew that I needed to walk in this one first in order to move forward. And if you've not been in my salon, come and take a peek. Because it is not like any other salon.
No, it's not. Nope.
The peace that is there will remain there. And my staff know that if you break my peace, you got to go.
Right.